Welcome to TSW After Darkside. I know it was you, Vader. You broke my heart. You broke my heart.
Nice to see. I'm recording again, by the way, just in case we knock out a little After Darkside.
All right, cool.
The fact that we're growing out to like the Philippines as well. Someone I work with suggested that we put a map on the site and drop a pin in every time we pick up a new listener from somewhere.
That's a good idea. Is the Philippines near the South China Sea? Are they having all the problems with China at the moment in the Thingy Islands? What are those like? They're beautiful, pristine coral reefs, and they're basically built on all of them. Built army bases.
They are in the South China Sea, yeah.
What are they called? They're Spratly Islands.
Entirely possible, yeah. I'm not really up on the
just
sort of...
decimating them. The fuckers. No, I can say it's bastards now because it's after dark.
Yeah, it's after dark.
Indeed,
Yeah,
you can.
go
Those
nuts.
fuckers. And they've destroyed. If you look on Google Earth, they've destroyed most of them. They've just covered them over and put airports and like ships and harbours. Just and it's not even their ocean. It's like kind of unclaimed. It's not unclaimed. Everyone's claiming it. If you know what I mean.
That's
But
terrible.
yeah, the Philippines is kind of adjacent to the South China Sea, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah.
Have I lost you?
No,
I'm still
we're still here, mate.
Oh.
Still here.
Oh my God, you were engrossed in what I was saying for once because it's not about
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah. I always use this opportunity to do a little bit of work as well, Steve, trying to find where I've put the recording of the podcast.
Oh right, okay. I did like that. I think it's not going to be long before we get an Avatar trailer, like a teaser.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I reckon he'll want to. He's had a lot of criticism about what the hell's been going on and why it's taken so long. And I believe wholeheartedly in what he's doing. It's James Cameron. You leave him alone. Even the studio said, someone who criticised him recently, James Cameron works at his own pace and we do not interfere.
We definitely know this to be true from history.
Yeah, and he's never failed, has he? So leave him alone. He won't fail us. I know he won't.
No,
This
I mean,
will be
it's
awesome.
even movies of his that I haven't enjoyed, like Titanic, are still, successful, wildly so.
Blasphemer!
It just bores me. It's really long.
No, I was talking to the cat. It's all right.
Oh,
What
what the fuck did the cat do to get that?
Is that the cat's name? Blasphemer.
That's a great name for a cat.
I was really hoping the cat would just be like, I don't believe there's a God.
No, I was talking to you, Rob. I love Titanic. It's my guilty pleasure. I hate it, and I have to watch it every time it's on.
That's fair enough. My guilty pleasure is Mrs. Doubtfire, so...
I know that. That's kind of weird. I
love
can't
it.
watch anything with Robin Williams in it now.
It is a bit sad, isn't it?
It upsets me. It really
Yeah.
does upset
I know
me.
what you mean.
And it's like Philip Seymour Hoffman. I was watching Mission Impossible 3 the other day. It made me
Of
really
course,
sad.
Yeah, he
And
turns up.
Magnolia. He was amazing in
sad.
Magnolia.
Yeah, it is sad when that sort of thing, when you realise, like, oh, I'm always going to watch this with a certain
Yeah.
sadness, knowing that person is, that's it.
I mean, it's like Han Solo. He's dead. I mean, he's never going to act again.
Oh yeah, last week Jeremy asked. I should have put this on the main show. Jeremy asked a question. Steve, he said, "Has Stephen gotten over the death of Han Solo? And if not, who would he have preferred die in place of Han?"
Well, my thought, Leia, because she was next to useless in the film.
Really?
Kill her off.
See, I said you were going to say nobody until episode 8.
No, I wouldn't have been heartbroken about Leia. It would have been a bit weird and sad.
Yeah.
But you're talking main characters.
Yeah, I think that was implied. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been if it had to be one of the mains. Then Leia,
I
Chewie,
said
no.
you- Yeah.
They could have dismantled 3PO, but then he's pretty useless. All he's got is quips.
Yeah.
Imagine how much brasso you need to keep him. That's the problem with 3PO. It's a bad design. You literally have to walk around with half a tub of brasso, like a bucket of brasso.
Only if you want to keep him clean.
Well, he looked like
Does he go green if you don't clean him?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
he
I would have
copper?
thought so.
What's he made out of?
Dunno.
Well, it
Come on,
looks like
Star
he's
Wars
made out of. Looks like he's made
space
out of
brass.
plastic. Yeah, it's crap, and it's gold-plated crap.
Space brass.
Space bras.
What?
Space bras?
Brass. Double S.
Oh, okay. I wonder. Yeah, I think it would probably be Leia. Kill her off,
Okay.
but only because she got on my tits as an actress.
We got to meet
Sorry.
Carrie.
There's something about the way you say "get on my tits" that just it tickles me. I don't know why.
I mean, I think she's awesome, but it wasn't her. It was the role she had in the last film.
A lot of her stuff seems to get.
I bet you any money
based
she
on the
was
original
as pissed off as Luke when half her shit got cut on the cutting room floor.
Maybe because I mean, in the story, in the book, she's got a lot more story and a lot more dialogue.
Yeah.
So I imagine a fair bit of it is maybe it didn't even make it to being filmed.
I just wonder if it wasn't like all the bits that didn't make sense in episode 7 was because all the incidental stuff in between had been cut.
It happens a lot. You guys seen all that? Have you seen all the Harry Potter movies?
Yes, yeah.
At least seen Prisoner of Azkaban. That's the one I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, I've seen all of them.
So Prisoner of Azkaban is the one obviously with the Marauders map.
Yeah.
So
which you never see again.
Which you never see again. And in the book, it's established that the reason Sirius Black and what's his name, Lupin, know how to use it is because they wrote it. They created it. In the film, that's never said. And that's one line of dialogue which would explain why they suddenly can just work out how to use the bloody thing.
It's hinted at with the name, is it? Messrs. What is it? Wormtail.
But it's like a Easter egg almost. It's not.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's the thing. Unless they explain those things, it looks like the film's been undermined in some way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Undermined? What's the pre?
I don't know. Undermined.
Undermined, yeah.
Undermounded.
No, hang on. We're using the wrong word. Undermined.
Undermined. Yeah, there is no.
No, I don't know where we got that word from.
We're making words up.
All of your grammar. I like the Queen's one. If you heard, now this is not to upset any of my American listeners, but I saw a fantastic poster with the Queen saying, "There is no such thing as American English. There is English, and there is mistakes. There are mistakes."
Yeah, that's the irony of that statement.
Great, wouldn't it? Yeah.
The irony. There is mistakes. That would have been great.
Yeah, there is mistakes.
You done goofed.
But, yes, it was an interesting question from Jeremy.
Palpatine.
Palpatino.
That's a good. What played Freddie Mercury? Queen.
Jesus Christ! Oh my God! Even more.
Elizabeth. Palpatino.
Oh no, I was thinking Freddie Mercury.
Just stop it! We're making more work for me on voiceover.
Yeah, can you do a Welsh Freddie Mercury Palpatine, please? Go on, do it.
I'm trying to think how you'd even start.
Just do it. Don't think about it.
It's got to be something in the lyrics to Barcelona, right?
This is what I'm thinking.
Alderaan, what a beautiful horizon. On that last day.
Strike me down with that weapon. Oh dear. So in answer to Jeremy's question,
that's no moon, that's a space station.
People will be listening to this going, "What the hell's Wales?"
What the hell's Wales? They're in Star Trek 4.
Yeah, Space Wales.
Is it Star Trek 4? I don't even know now.
No, that's a proper whale. I was thinking of space whales.
Yeah,
which are an elusive creature from Star Trek, aren't they? You never.
Yes, of course, yeah.
But no, in answer to Jeremy's question,
Leia.
Okay.
But not because of Carrie Fisher, who I love and I think she's awesome.
It's just because more of her role
they didn't flesh her out enough.
It's entirely possible. There's more to come in terms of.
I honestly don't think she will do it. I think she will have said at some point, "You better flesh out my character, or I'm not going to come back."
Yeah, I can see it, and I think she'd have every right to.
I do as well.
Case. Yeah,
I do.
She didn't really get a fair shake of it. Like I say, a lot of the stuff that's in the story of Force Awakens doesn't make it into the final film, and that's a ton of her exposition. You kind of get an insight into why she's a little bit grouchy and a little bit sour because of some of the stuff that's happened. I mean, especially, we keep banging on about it, but there's a lot of stuff in Bloodline that explains a lot.
Yeah.
And also opens up a lot of questions.
I'm going to say something contentious here. Episode 7 wasn't long enough.
Okay.
I don't mind there being. They tried to make a roller coaster film where you never stopped, which is great.
Yeah.
But that sort of appeases your mainstream audience. But for people like us, we want the incidental stuff. We want the slow down bit and look at that. That's cool. I mean,
the sad reality of it's not a sad reality, but the reality of it is that a film made in that vein doesn't make $2 billion at the box office.
It would just done, though, wouldn't it?
Well, it may. I mean, it depends on how much disposable income there is flying around the cosplay community, but that's the reality. Is to appeal to the broad mainstream, you have to streamline a lot of that stuff, and it means that you have to hit certain beats in order to make money. I mean, I saw a infographic the other day. It was an infographic. It was a meme about. It was a picture of Sad Affleck. Have you seen that video?
Yeah.
It's so fun. It is really funny. I mean, I really, really like Ben Affleck, and actually, I was quite excited about Batman Superman. I didn't get a chance to see it, which I'm gutted about. But there's a picture of Sad Affleck, and then there's Chris Evans, cracking up laughing, and it's got a hand on Affleck's shoulder, and it just shows the box office takings. And I mean, I didn't realize this. I assumed that Batman Superman was a tremendous flop, but it made $850 million.
Oh yeah.
It did all right. It just didn't do as well as Civil War. No. Yeah. It didn't do it. Not at all. Not a flop at all. It's not. I'm sure it's not what they wanted to. The money they wanted to do, but it is only the second movie in their new DCU. Yeah. Right. DCCU, I guess.
They've already replaced Snyder as exec producer on the project, isn't it?
And I think the Affleck, there's a standalone Affleck Batman film, isn't there?
Yeah.
I'm quite excited about that. Yeah, I'm hearing from everybody who's seen the film has told me that he's the best bit of it.
Well, that's good.
And I mean, I wasn't as skeptical as others about Affleck because I quite like him when he was announced.
Oh yeah, I support Affleck wholeheartedly, and I like what I've seen of him as Bruce Wayne and him as Batman. I've yet to see the movie because I was a big fan of Man of Steel, so I'm probably not going to get a lot out of this movie. But
yeah,
I support him.
He wasn't or was a big fan.
Sorry?
Did you say he was a big fan of Man of Steel?
No, I wasn't.
Because we saw that together, didn't we? And we were all a bit.
We did. Yeah. Only Andy had anything positive to say.
That trailer for that film fucked up the film for everyone.
Yeah,
because you could never live up to the expectations of that wonderful trailer.
Mm.
That trailer, that should have been the film, like a 2-minute film. Oh my God, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I wish it had been longer.
That's where we will be in our Demolition Man style future that we're all heading to. Short films, short jingles.
Do you want to know a weird story about Demolition Man?
Yes.
I think I've told you before. I remember it so vividly. I woke up. I had a dream that I was in a car in an accident, and the car filled with foam and went hard, and I was saved.
Okay, and you had to shit using seashells?
No. What are the seashells for? I literally the next day. It was the next day as well because I was thinking about this weird dream all night. The next day, I watched Demolition Man on TV. Never seen it before. Yeah. Never even heard of it. And when that bit came on, I was literally going, "Oh my God, I dreamt about that last night." It's the weirdest thing ever. It was a really boring story. Now I say it out loud.
Oh, well,
but it is completely true.
I think it's difficult when you compare it to Demolition Man.
It's not the greatest film to want to dream about.
It's not. But I mean, I've only seen it I only saw it for the first time, like maybe last year or the year before. I actually quite enjoyed it.
Oh, it's total shit. But
really?
It's one of the I mean, I must have seen it 50 times. It's
enjoyable
shit. Cheese. Enjoyable shit, yeah.
Yeah, it's enjoyable cheese. Like
you have to watch it because it's just stupid.
It's very over the top and ridiculous.
Very tongue in cheek.
Yeah, exactly.
Wesley Snipes is annoying in it, but you have to watch him. There's nothing in that film that I like and can't resist watching.
Yeah, yeah.
Or can resist watching rather, because it is just dross that you have to watch.
Yeah. A friend of mine made the case that it could be a Judge Dredd movie. like without
Okay.
this, like a
Oh,
non.
they're having there's a mini series. There's a TV series of Dread now, right?
No,
They're
it was an April Fool's thing, I think.
fuckers.
I know. I remember seeing that news story, and I think it got debunked.
Are you
as an
sure
April
that
Fool's.
was an April Fool's? Because I only read about
Fairly sure. That article did the rounds again, a little while ago, and I'm sure it said.
I mean, that should happen anyway. That should happen, even if it's an April Fool.
I think Carl Urban's up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
I mean,
He
obviously
really
he's doing the Doctor, isn't he, on every Star Trek? What about the Star Trek series? Now, is that current cast?
No.
So how the hell are they going to do the Enterprise?
I think it's
the Enterprise B, so it's not.
It's after Undiscovered Country, isn't it?
Oh, so I'm confused. So it's in a different timeline.
Yeah, it comes after Kirk. So Kirk disappears on the maiden voyage of the Enterprise B, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
No, he doesn't.
No?
He does.
Not in the new timeline, he doesn't, because they've recreated the whole of time, haven't they?
Christ.
No, this isn't on the new timeline.
Oh, how annoying!
Yeah, this is on the original.
This is the trouble with time travel.
That's annoyed me already, and I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, no, this
Get
this
all your
takes,
ducks in a row, for God's sake.
Yeah, this is on because if you think about it, the timeline for the new J.J. Abrams reboot is dependent on Spock living to his old age on the original timeline, and then disrupting the timeline by sending himself and Nero back in time with the red matter. And they turn up separated by 30 years or something, don't they? They leave the future at the same time, but they end up in the past 30 years apart. So Nero turns up when he can destroy whatever the ship is that the Kirks are on, and that's when Jim Kirk is born during that attack, and that reboots the timeline. So you have to have a successful timeline all the way up to Spock's life, and then you have the paradox. So
but technically,
this is a sequel
Spock's
to
life
Undiscovered Country.
So if it's a sequel, that's what I don't understand. So it's a sequel to Undiscovered Country.
Yep.
But it's not the one where Kirk goes into the Nexus. Then is it after that? It's after that.
It will be after that, presumably, because in the original timeline, no, Kirk is lost on the maiden voyage of the Enterprise B when it was Alan Ruck was the captain. But presumably, it's not going to be Alan Ruck in this.
Ferris Bueller's Day
Ferris
Off.
Bueller, yeah. It will be that Enterprise. I don't know how far after Undiscovered Country it's set, but that will be that Enterprise that we follow. And they've said that teaser trailer that went out today it said new heroes, new villains, new worlds, new stories, new heroes, new villains, new worlds, or something. But
not Alan Ruck.
Presumably not.
Somebody who's playing his part.
Presumably, yes. And which means if they follow the canon, there'll be a Sulu on the bridge because it's his daughter on the bridge of the Enterprise B, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Oh my!
So we'll have a Sulu, and we'll have a nice new captain, and then they can pack out the rest of the crew with some decent, interesting.
Oh my!
Are you practicing your
Han Sulu?
Palpatino.
That's Han Sulu. Han Sulu, yeah.
Han Sulu. Oh my god!
I can do a whole run of these.
Getting worse.
Obi Kenobi.
It's getting worse, Rob. You need help.
I thought
I've just got it. Leia going to him. I love you. Oh no!
Oh my! I thought your Palpatino intro should have been about how I know it was you, Greedo.
Yeah, I did see your tweet and go, oh, that would have been good too. But I thought because it was more thematic to Vader betraying the Emperor, I thought it made sense to stick him in there.
That's genius.
Yeah, I hopefully the listeners get as much enjoyment out of those as I did because they were really quite fun to record. Although, like I say, doing that kind of gravelly, because I had to kind of go old Pacino to do, and I did it kind of tried to go for consistently old Pacino across the lot, because if you try and do his different voices over his different iconic roles across his career, it could get very shit, quite frankly. So I had to kind of stick to a standard voice. So what I tried to do was the more kind of gravelly old Pacino that you get. I mean, I was basing it off a Letterman interview where he brings Kevin Spacey on to do the Pacino impression that Kevin Spacey's famous for with Al Pacino.
I've seen that. That's brilliant.
Oh, Dave, shut up.
Yeah, that is.
So I kind of went for a mix of the Kevin Spacey kind of over the top one and a bit of a gravel, and then like I say, hopefully it's enjoyable for the listeners. I know a couple who will at least get a kick out of it. So
yeah, well, I was wetting myself listening to it.
Listening back,
really
I was like, that's quite, because I'm sure you guys are the same, right? And to a degree, with anything you record, when you're doing it, you're like, is this sounding okay? Is this going to come out all right? And then when you hear it back, you go, no, this is. You know what? This is quite good. Yeah. I know I get it when I listen back to Talk Star Wars or my own personal podcasts and stuff. I listen back to them and go, no, that turned out all right. And there's sometimes where I go, oh, could have done without that, or I pick up on, some audio error I make or some cut that sounds awkward.
Yeah, or like me, I say the wrong words and numbers. That's the thing with me. I'm trying to concentrate on three things at once. Last week, I seem to remember that I'd forgotten where my birthday was within the month of July.
Wow. Yes, that's right. Yeah. Because
I called out the 13th. All I did was I misspoke. It should have been the 15th. But the fact that it's the day before my birthday should have been a major clue for me.
And your brain went, no, fuck it. I'm running with this.
No, I'm going to say whatever I want. The episode the weeks before, I called Ben Solo, Ben Skywalker 4 times in a row.
I thought I heard it once. I didn't realise you did it more than once.
4 times. I was listening to it thinking, I think I'm an idiot. And then the second time, oh no, I am an idiot.
I'm going to have a key.
The third and fourth time, I was starting to question whether or not I might have had a stroke while we were recording because we got everything wrong.
The worst one I've ever done is, had I not corrected it, I had to do a written correction in the podcast post. It would have been libel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because basically we were talking about The Thick of It, the TV show.
Yeah.
And I was talking about the actor who left the series because he was charged with, I can't remember if it's possession or distribution of indecent images, basically.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Chris Langham. I called him Chris Packham, who's a completely different bloke who still exists. Yeah. Who's a real bloke. It's just not the one I was going for.
He's lovely, Chris Packham.
I'm sure
he's
he is.
He's a naturist, isn't he, Steve?
Yes,
exactly.
He is.
He is a naturist.
No, he's a naturist someone who gets their kit off. By the way, I'm naked now.
Is that not what he does?
He's a naturologist or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a... Oh, God, what's the word?
A nature
It'll come to me in a minute. He's into
naturalist?
Nature. Naturalist, thank you.
That's
he's not a naturist. Well, he might be.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a naturalist, so maybe that's a replete among naturalists that you're also into naturism.
He's a naturalist, and very obviously not in the thick of it. And I didn't even spot it. Somebody pointed out to me after the fact, one of the people who was on the show who just didn't really think anything of it at the time, sort of pointed out to me and said, dude, you might want to go back and correct and cut that and re-upload it. And I was like, well, you know what, at this point, I think it's obvious enough who I mean, but just to be on the safe side, I will correct it. Basically, what I did was in the podcast notes, I actually wrote, it should hopefully be obvious. But when I said Chris Packham, I actually meant Chris Langham, who was the actor who was in the thick of it, who left the show in series 2. And then I can't remember. Oh, I called it Chris Lexia. That was it. Trying to manipulate it for my own comedic ends.
He is. I think Chris Packham. This could be libel, but I think he is bipolar or something. I've just read recently.
Oh, really?
So I think people who are into naturalism, are always a bit weird, like me. Jen thought I was weird once because I was having a shower in the rain with shampoo and conditioner.
Well, like her,
that is weird.
She came home from work and I was standing in the rain shampoo. It's like a free shower. I don't fucking waste my own water.
Yeah.
You are a mental.
It's awesome.
I've actually just looked up Chris Packham, and he suffers from Asperger's syndrome and severe depression.
That bit.
Yes.
But
So
you know what?
You're on the right lines because it does say he suffered from severe depression.
Yeah.
At times in his life.
He's one of the most intelligent, lucid, kind of inspiring people I know, and I never would have thought. It just shows you that it's a scale. Things like Asperger's. I think everyone has a bit of everything.
It's a spectrum, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I really do. There's no black and white with these things. It's a bit like people who say, "Oh, I'm not gay." Well, I'm not gay, but you can't be 100% straight or gay. Absolutely. There are a million variations between.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm the only red-blooded male on the planet.
I
still like cock.
I have a theory.
Not joking.
I have a theory on this one.
I love cock.
I'm gonna postulate a theory. I can. Mark's broken.
It's the comedy timing of that.
It's the fact that every time I try and start a sentence, he just sticks his cock in the middle. I'm gonna postulate a theory. I've raised this theory before, but I don't think I've ever done it on a recorded thing. I reckon that had I grown up a few years later, I would probably have been diagnosed with some sort of autistic spectrum disorder. Because when I was a kid, this is based, purely on kind of what I was like when I was a kid. I remember getting everything that confused me. I used to start crying. I used to get really upset if anything happened that I didn't understand or didn't expect. Or
is that the prequels when you was watching the prequels?
No, this was pre-prequels. This is, I was about
that made you cry.
Up to the age of about 11, I guess. I mean, actually, to be fair, I was prone to crying until about what year are we in? About last summer. And then obviously, talk Star Wars and all that. But joking aside, I was a very kind of sensitive kid, and I wonder, would I have been kind of put forward for testing for that sort of thing?
Oh, I would have.
Yeah,
I would definitely have done. I totally agree.
We didn't know this stuff, back then. These things. When I was a kid, if a kid was hyperactive and disruptive in class, they were just hyperactive and disruptive. They weren't diagnosed with anything. They weren't given it. Nobody had a syndrome. Yeah, nobody had a syndrome. Nobody had a disorder when I was a kid. They were just, some of these things were just eccentricities and quirks. I didn't have a restless leg when I grew up. I was just a fidget.
Oh, Jeremy will know this. He's listening. I mean, me and him were dysfunctional children. We were naughty as you like at school, and nowadays we would have been labelled, and then it would have proliferated the problems. That's the right word. It would have exacerbated it and made it worse.
Yeah,
you were just a little shit when I was young, and that was it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. This is it. Like even
I spent my entire young life counting to 25 in 5 increments. I don't know why. I had to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25.
Okay.
It was like an OCD thing. I don't know why. But I tell you what, if you want your 5 times table done, I'm your man.
Yeah, totally. Up until 5.
Yeah, I can't go above 25.
Never practiced that far.
But, it's those weird things you do as a child.
Do you think, actually, on the subject, to kind of, it's a bit of a serious question, but do you think that the fact that we can label kids means we're too prone to nowadays? You think that's a possibility that because we understand these things better, which is obviously I'm going to say categorically that being able to understand these disorders and these syndromes better is a categorically good thing generally for society, right?
Yes,
there's no argument there. Do you think it means that more doctors, more parents are prone to kind of almost excusing those things with labels? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
I think that's possible.
We're so quick to catalogue and categorize things these days that we can't just accept that somebody's a bad person.
Or a bad parent.
Yeah,
a lot of this shit's caused by the food that parents give their kids, which is basically bleeding Haribos and energy drinks.
This could seriously upset people, but I'm going to take a chance anyway. There are too many kids having kids. And that is not just people, not just their age, young parents, but people that aren't equipped with the life skills they need to become
I'm with you on that.
parents.
No, I'm totally with you.
So
kids nowadays think that it is completely normal to be addicted and on technology for a big portion of the day. Yeah. They think that's what life is. It's not about enjoying nature or actually being with people or socializing one-to-one without technology. And I'm not judging kids
But
here
having
because
said that,
we're all in.
whatever you
into
do, listen to our
technology.
podcast
Totally.
on your iPhone.
Yeah.
Having said that,
Yeah,
Go for a walk.
I'm not judging kids like young people because we're all in our, Mark and I are mid-40s, but I love technology. But because I grew up with none, I kind of have a happy medium. I'm out in the garden all the time, and I'm doing the things that are really good for you as well. But they think that is life, and it isn't.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And when it's exacerbating. Now I'm saying that word again. The whole situation with, and it's that kind of thing that's also links. I was reading today about, you're talking about ADHD and syndromes and how we over medicate and we over diagnose. They reckon by 2050, it was on the news today, a person will die every 3 seconds from a superbug because of the way we're using antibiotics now.
Yeah, I've understood this to
Every
be the case.
3 seconds,
Yeah.
Well, that's going to sort the population problem out.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be literally on the money. I think it's an average. It's just not.
Not every.
Oh, it's
3
been two and a half seconds. Everybody, quick look at your watch.
We'll be like, oh, thank God, it's coming. Oh, thank God.
Yeah, what's
it's
this?
coming.
What's this tightness in my chest? What's this tightness? Oh no, hang on. He's gone past 4 seconds. We've got to kill him anyway.
But it's like they do in India. I was watching this documentary in India about India. In certain massive cities where there is obviously close proximity, people living together, where they're all catching each other's shit, they take antibiotics like vitamin pills.
I believe it. Yeah.
Even when you're not ill. And they reckon in the sewers of these countries, because you wee out antibiotics, most of it comes out of your urine.
Yeah.
They reckon there are bugs in the sewers that, if they aerosol and become airborne, that they will wipe out like ridiculous amounts of people because they're so super, these bugs.
Yeah.
That there's no current antibiotics that could go anywhere close to defeating them.
Yeah, I believe it. I have no problem believing that.
Right? It is scary shit, and we're doing that to ourselves. We're basically hyper evolving our enemy, which is virus and bacteria.
Yeah,
terrifying, isn't it?
Bacterium. Yeah.
On a sort of unrelated subject, you touched on it a minute ago, Steve. One of the things
I didn't. You can't prove it. Oh, sorry.
And on a related subject, I wish you wouldn't exacerbate on the microphone.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I've used that
blind.
word twice tonight, and I shouldn't have done it the first time.
You've just got excessive exacerbation sessions. I read so many news articles that scare the fuck out of me about kids, as young as like 8, 10, 12, having heart problems from energy drinks. It scares the shit out of me that these kids are kind of allowed to get into that stuff to that degree so early in their lives. It just makes you wonder what they're doing.
Yeah.
Is it just one of those things they see a cool looking can on the shelf and go, oh, it must be cool, and the parents don't know any better? It must be that. It has to be that, because no parent worth their salt, is going to be like, oh, have one of those every 3 hours. It's mental.
No,
it's scary. I tell you, somebody gave me this. I sound so weak, but I can't. It's just me. I'm a bit of a wuss nowadays. My mate gave me a full calf coffee, and I asked for decaf, and he did it wrong. I was out my tits for the rest of the day. Honestly, I was fucking shaking. I was sweating.
I don't drink a lot. I drink a lot of decaffeinated beverages.
I could not do the shit that people. We've got a couple of youngsters at work. They're in their early 20s, and they sit there and they drink Lucozade and energy drinks all day long and Haribo and shit. And they're up till 3 a.m. doing World of Warcraft, and then they're coming to work at 7, 8. They look dead.
Totally, and they're probably dead inside. Yeah. If they're not playing, if they're not even varying up their games, that's going to happen. You've got to play at least 2.
That is completely normal, and it's almost like they're living their lives vicariously through the electronic medium of gaming.
It's funny you say that, because how many people? I mean, obviously, I'm sort of slagging off people I'd very much like to get as viewers, but I'm not even. I suppose I'm not slagging them off, but how many people spend all day watching videos of other people having fun? You know what I mean? It's weird to me that people spend all day watching Let's Plays. They don't buy it. You know, some people don't buy a game. They go and watch somebody play it and then go, "Oh, cool, I don't need to bother." It's like, well, where's the fun in that? For me, there should be a mix.
It's like going out to dinner together and then sitting on your phone talking to people or texting people, messaging people, Snapchatting people that aren't even in the room. People that didn't make the effort to beat you and spend time.
And
that
is the happy medium I'm talking about, Mark. What you just said there. You have to know when to put it down.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
that's something that
Also
we thankfully, as people who are moderately old, we've learned. We didn't need to learn it because we had a life that was outside, that was exercise, that was physical, where you had to make your own fun.
Yeah.
And then technology, thankfully, came along while we had that ingrained in us already.
Yeah.
But they don't have that.
No.
And I feel so sorry for kids that don't realise. And also, the world is not a bit of software that you can apply a patch to and fix. If you want to fix the planet, which is fucked, we've lost half our species of the whole world since 1970. Half of the species are gone.
Wow.
What's that, 46 years? And we've managed to eradicate half of the species. We're not going to have electricity in 30 years because people will be fighting over a carrot. People won't care if they've got more lives on that game with the fruit. I can't remember. Candy Crush.
Yeah,
they'll be fighting over real fruit.
They will. And it is as serious as that. We've got so many issues to overcome in the next. Let alone, don't get me started on climate change. I mean, that's if you're not under fucking water. You know, some scientists are even saying that if they gave the worst case estimate, people would run around with their pants on their head and 2 pencils out and go and wibble because it is that scary.
I'm just putting something in the discussion thread, Steve, that I think that will give you a little bit of hope.
Is it a new hope?
No, well, kind of. It's a subreddit called Futurology, and it's all about the major advances in technology actually being applied in the real world. So the top story is, it's gaming related because it's Reddit. Amputee gamer gets a prosthetic bionic arm with an interactive screen, charger, and drone. It's just all about the wonderful applications of technology and how technology is improving people's health and it's
like everything, isn't it? It's not actually the problem itself, it's how that is utilised that is the problem.
Indeed.
Can I say something very contentious?
If you must.
Why not? Why change that bit of a life, man?
I say this with the greatest respect for anyone who's ill listening to this, and I'm not saying it from someone who doesn't know what it's like to be ill, because I do.
All right, Rob, getting the scissors out.
And no, it's fine because I'm going to put it in the right way. Dealing with making people live longer is a fantastic and really worthy thing to do. Obviously, who wants to snuff it? Everyone wants to live a pain-free life and a long life. I totally get that, and so do I. But the trouble is, unless you address the underlying things of the effects of having much population, you're fucking yourself over. Because by the time you get to reap the rewards of all this technology that makes you live longer, there won't be a planet to live on. Because it can only support 2 billion people, maximum of 2 billion, with a Western-like lifestyle.
I thought you were going to say 2 billion more years, and I was like, that doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, no. With a Western-like... The trouble is, all the people in India and Bangladesh who are going to be underwater, they've got 1/50th of the carbon footprint of me, and they're going to be the ones who get shafted first. But when everyone wants to get Westernized, the whole of India's going to be, a first world country within the next 10 or 15, 20 years. The Earth can't support that many people with a Western-like lifestyle, all driving cars, all having PlayStations, all doing, going out to dinner every night,
iPhones,
ordering stuff online, and all the rest of it. It just can't do it. It's a finite world.
Yeah.
And all these things that are supposed to make us live longer, we won't get to use them because unless we are able to get into space and move to the moon and do it, great. But there won't be a planet. And I know I say that I'm not like a doomsday theorist. I mean, When you've
What if you
got
just
100
type the end is nigh in the messages then, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, Steve, you're sending out mixed signals here.
We're all
Well, when-
doomed.
When you get 100,000 scientists all agreeing on something, you listen. If they said something like, I don't know, you need to stop eating Smarties or M&Ms.
They do that anyway, don't they?
Yeah,
I'm,
well,
I'm,
yeah,
I'm
they
sure
do.
I'm sure I've been told that everything like everybody ever eats ever is cancerous.
But if everyone in the scientific community said something tomorrow and they said, you've got to do it now, you've got to stop now, it makes your willy fall off, you'd stop. You wouldn't risk it.
Right.
But if when everyone agrees about climate change, I mean everyone except for the idiots that actually don't agree with climate change, that haven't done any reading or written papers on it or gone to Antarctica and seen the glaciers retreating and all the rest of the shit that's going on.
Mel Gibson.
Everyone's in agreement. Why aren't we listening to them? I mean, there's never been a scientific study with more evidence.
You're preaching to the choir, Steve, here, and I'm sure the people that are smart enough to listen to our podcast will.
Well, of course they will. They'll all love
complete
us.
agreement with you, and it's only about everybody taking a little bit of responsibility and making a little bit of a change, and that adds up to a lot.
Totally. I mean, my thing on. Sorry.
No, that was it. No, that was it, mate. That was my.
Okay, so I was going to say my thing on climate change is my opinion on it. I haven't really done a lot of reading on it, I must say, but my opinion on it is that whether or not I believe it's man-made, blah blah blah, whatever, is irrelevant because if we can do this stuff, we might as well.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of doing things better, I think we can, and thus we should, regardless. And I think that was Schwarzenegger actually who said that. He said, "Look, whatever your feelings are on whether climate change is a thing or not, and two, whether it's heavily influenced by man or not." He said it's irrelevant. If we can do these things to improve our situation, why not?
And he also said, "It's not a tumour, and get to the chopper."
Exactly. I think we can all unite behind Dylan, you son of a bitch.
What happened to you, Dylan? You used to be somebody I could trust.
Got you pushing too many papers.
Yeah.
Oh, Schwarzenegger.
Admiral Schwarzenegger.
I've noticed it this year in my pond, Mark. I do this thing called the big not glaciers. I did the great spawn count, which is like a frog spawn count every year, and every year it goes down. And when I started doing it, I had 56.
Fuck 'em.
We all know Rob hates a frog.
Fuck 'em.
Fuck 'em. Oh yeah, you do, don't you? You're hopophobic.
Renidophobe, that's it. Yeah.
Get to the hopper. That didn't work. Every year, because amphibians have a type of skin that makes it susceptible to any changes in its atmosphere or climate.
Right.
So the first things, they're like litmus paper for environmental change.
For old people's knees.
For old people's knees.
Well, same sort of thing. Oh, it's raining.
Are you talking about sticking a frog on an old person's knee? No,
I'm saying that
a knee pad.
That's the old stereotype, isn't it? That,
yes.
Old people's
no,
they go, "Oh, my knees are bad. It's going to rain."
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Like a shit Terminator.
They go, "Oh, my knees are bad. Can we stop doing it doggy style?"
Es una tormente. What did he say? He said, "Oh, it's going to rain." Dun, 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 dun. Shit Terminator.
You missed my old person doggy style joke then.
Oh, we don't want to hear it because that conjures really terrifying imagery. What's happened to your amphibians?
Right, so every year when I started doing the Great Spawn Count, which is something you log online so they can tell what the shit's going down. I had 56 clumps in the first year, and every year it's gone down, and I got 3 this year.
Wow.
No.
Yeah, and that's in the last 10 years. I've gone from 56 clumps to 3.
Yeah.
And so much so that actually, if you look at my video, I don't interfere with nature normally, but I've actually taken the clumps because the newts are conversely doing awesome because they eat all the frog spawn, and they're more hardy than frogs and less susceptible to chemical change and stuff. I had to save the spawn and put it in a jar, and I'm actually rearing my own frogs. Mirror.
Steve, you're like my Hitler.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say you killed all the newts with a shoe.
No, I love
the ones that said affirmative.
Yeah, affirmative. It
Yeah,
won't make any difference.
Hitler's strong, but you are you're like my height, fucking I'm trying to think of a better example than Hitler, because he wasn't raising his own genetic army, was he? Yeah.
Mussolini.
Yeah, there you go. Why not? Fuck it. I'm tired.
Jar Jar Binks. Nu is going to be in the new
Sci-Fi
film
Diaz,
as
there you
herself.
That idea can screw off. Yeah, Sci-Fi Diaz, it ties it back into the Star Wars
Yeah,
in
there
some
you
way.
go. You're like my Sci-Fi Diaz. You're building up an army of things that I can't fucking stand.
Is that Cameron Diaz's brother?
Yeah, why not?
It's really gone off the rails, isn't it? That whole thing with Newt being an alien is a terrible idea.
No, it's what is wrong with you, Mark? That's going to be awesome.
She hasn't worked since.
She died.
Did
She
she?
didn't die.
No, not the actress. The character died.
Yes, I know, but that doesn't exist. He's already said Alien 3. It was a different. Just in it didn't happen. This is between. What's going to happen is they take off from the planet. They do the same thing that happened between Alien and Aliens. They get fucked up in the life things. Time goes by. They all get older. So much time that they're actually aged in size inside the incubation chambers. Yep. And then they're hey ho, we're off we go.
Right. I need to say that
don't say anything bad because I love this idea.
It's a supersized family pack of dick tips. That idea. It couldn't suck more balls if it tried. I've just listened to an audio book which is Alien Out of the Shadows. And even though it's kind of a good story,
is it good?
Spoilers for Alien Out of the Shadows, right? Probably bail out now if you're going to listen to it. I kind of enjoyed it. It's really well made. Okay. But it's these brand new characters who find like the aliens and all hell breaks loose. So they're pretty much telling the same story over again, which I was fine with. But then they go, oh, what's that over there? Oh, it's a life pod. Let's open it up. Oh, it's Ripley. Hello, Ripley. Let's unfreeze you so you can have this adventure. And then in the final moments of the book, they go, we've got this new technology that erases people's memories. Let's wipe a memory and pop it back in.
Oh, God.
Fuck off.
Yeah, but that's different. That's a knobbish idea. Somebody's just jumping on the bandwagon, creating another Alien story. I'm talking about our favourite characters in the favourite film, which was Aliens, carrying on kicking ass and chewing bubblegum.
See, I really like
Why
the
not
first
just write new characters?
Because we like Ripley and we like Hicks and we like Nu.
We have also talked about this, Mark.
You can say what you like to me. It won't make any difference.
Yeah. Also, we've touched on this before, but a lot of the time when people say they want new things, they don't necessarily want new things. They want kind of familiarity. Because, I mean, somebody's pointed out, so remember I was saying on the main show that there's a rumoured leaked title for Fall of the Resistance. People are pointing out that it's basically another Empire Strikes Back title. Yeah. And but then a lot of people are on board because of that. Because, you know, obviously Episode 7 touched on a lot of New Hope's action points and a lot of story.
No, it didn't. Did it?
Yeah, here and there.
I know.
Here and there.
My big bugbear with it.
Mm.
I've just crapped on my own idea, though.
I think you needed that for Episode 7. I think Episode 8 has some freedom to go a little bit further afield. Whether or not it will, I don't know, but I think it definitely has the freedom to do so because it's made it. Episode 7's made it clear that people are jazzed up about Star Wars again.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously before the prequels were quite divisive. Obviously, you know, I differ with the popular opinion.
Our listeners, our lovely listeners,
who I'm nonetheless have the utmost respect for their opinion on it.
Mark, can you do a vote on, please, who liked the prequels and percentage, please? Can we do a vote on the website? Please vote. Yeah.
Poll.
And we'll see. We'll put this to bed once and for all, and then Rob has to actually agree that the prequels are crap.
No, I don't.
Yeah, if the vote comes in, I'll say they're lovely.
Oh, I will agree they're lovely.
But if the listeners say they're crap, we have to go with them.
This is the thing, right? So as a grown-up, I have certain responsibilities. One of the privileges that affords me is that I get to have my own opinions that can be as far removed as I like, within reason. From
not in this dictatorship, you won't.
I'm always keen of saying, like, you're a grown man, you're allowed to be wrong.
Yeah, well, quite so. You know, that's exactly it, sort of. But you know,
I'll go along with
sort
that.
of.
I mean, I was talking about it last week, Mark, wasn't I, with that comedian I went to see?
Yeah.
But you know, a few of the points he made, I was just like, I don't agree with that, but he's funny, so I'll let it. You know, it's not that I'll let it slide. Yeah, I can ignore that because he's funny. But there are a few times I'm just like, blimey, he didn't strike me as the kind of person who believed that sort of thing, you know. And it's true. I mean, I've got loads of friends. I think if they knew some of my opinions on some subjects, they'd be mortified. But the reality is that they're just my opinions, and I hold them for my own reasons, and they don't infringe upon their opinions. And as long as I'm not wounding in any way physically with my actions, then I'm free to do that stuff.
Just to be clear, the opinion you're talking about is that you want to go to everybody's pond and kill all of their clumps of baby frogs.
Because you're a frogophobe.
I think the world would work itself out.
Mark, I think I'm wrong. You know, you was talking about the arse crack full of erect dick tits, or whatever you was calling it.
I said a family-sized bag of dick tips.
Oh, okay. Dick tips.
Tips.
Dick tips,
Yes.
as in the tips.
Oh, not an arse crack full of erect dick tits.
No.
Right, okay.
Although that sounds hilarious as well.
Right.
Hashtag.
If Newt is whisked away from the planet witches, come on, give me the name of it. LB 426, thank you.
Yep.
And she's put in an incubation chamber, not to learn about advanced mathematics or her first kiss or touching herself in the dead of night.
I was going to say getting finger banged.
Yeah. Then when she wakes up and she's like, how old would she be now? 45? No, about 35, 38. She's going to have the childlike persona.
Yeah,
Like Thundercat.
This is shaping up to be quite an edgy film, and I'm pretty sure that I'll watch it.
Like,
Would I
got
be
a
allowed
grown
to play
woman-
doctors and nurses with her if she's 38?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. If she's physically...
That would
That's
be
interesting.
wrong,
It's an interesting theological question.
It is. I'd feel wrong,
Philosophical question.
obviously.
Fast and loose with the word interesting there, Rob.
Yes,
It raises,
Rob needs to backtrack on this.
deeply troubling question.
it's a very interesting question with no good answer. How's that?
Yeah, that's good. You got yourself out of it.
Well, I can.
I'm not sure I want to see Newt as a child in a 38-year-old's body.
No, it's like Thundercats. Do you ever watch Thundercats when you were younger?
Yeah,
it's
I
a
remember
bit.
Thundercats.
I mean, it would have been it would have been kind of tail end of your childhood and beginning of mine, I guess.
Yeah.
But do you know the premise behind it? It's ridiculous.
Cat people.
They're cat people. They crash land on Mum Ra's planet. So they're basically just knocked up in his garden, and he's like, "What the fuck is this shit?"
You destroyed my dahlias.
Yeah. And Lion-O is a fully grown man body
Is a vinyl
with the mind of a child.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He's the mind of a child, because actually his accelerator. Oh, is it? Hang on. The two kids are supposed, when they go in the cryopods, are the same age as Lion-O, and Lion-O's cryopod breaks or malfunctions or something, and he ages, but he's still got the mind of a child or something like. It's ridiculous.
It's
like
genius.
when you hear, it made for entertaining TV when we were kids, but when you hold it up to scrutiny in the modern day, it's ridiculous. But then it's like the Michael Bay Transformers movies.
Yeah.
People complain. Yeah, well, people complain about it like, oh, it looks it looked unrealistic or whatever. It's like if you went into it thinking that the concept of robots from outer space coming down to Earth in the shape of vehicles wasn't batshit insane to begin with, you're a mentalist. You know what I mean?
I don't know how people can have
it's a ridiculous. It's a ridiculous premise.
How could they have a problem with it, Rob? Did you say people don't like the look of it?
No, it's like people complaining about
the premise.
Yeah, about the premise being stupid.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Sorry.
In the Transformers movie, it's like, well, if you were under the impression it wasn't ridiculous to begin with, you're a bit.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You're kind of in a bit of a denial, I think. You're kind of looking at it with rose-tinted glasses. Like I was watching a few weeks ago. My Jen was not feeling very well, and I said, "Well, let's put something on the telly. And what do you want to watch?" And we're scrolling through Netflix, and she picked She-Ra of all things. But I mean, that's one of the reasons she's a keeper, I guess.
Yeah.
And I watched it, and it'd been ages since I watched She-Ra, and it was.
Is that a live action flick?
No, it was a TV. It was the old TV series.
What? But not animation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was
It
going to
starts
say.
it starts off as like a He-Man spin-off episode, and then she gets her own show basically, and it's like cheesy as all hell, and it's kind of it's quite funny, but if you were to
I was
watch
so
it now,
hoping that you just said it was dog shit. That would have been a great ending to that.
I won't go that far.
Story.
I won't go that far, but it was pretty dumb. Like it's oh God, it's just we give a lot of things a free pass if we remember them fondly from childhood. I think.
Yeah.
You were saying earlier, like even Jedi has its issues.
Yes.
I think we give it a free pass because it's part of the original trilogy, and that holds such fond memories for all of us. But we forget that these things, and with the kind of look at it now, and you think back on that stuff, and you're like, wow, I had low standards as a kid to let that slide.
You didn't
have a
question
frame
it
of
as a kid,
reference.
and that's what ruins it.
Like the Mario Brothers movie,
Yeah,
Mario.
and like
fucking awful.
did you ever watch
Bob Hoskins.
Dungeons and Dragons?
I never
the
did,
animated
no,
Dungeons and Dragons.
I heard that was.
I love that show.
Well.
Yeah, you wouldn't watch it now, Steve.
Oh
Absolute
no,
poo.
I would vomit in my mouth. I think.
I don't think I can watch old stuff.
And also
Isn't that the
Battle of
roller
the
coaster
Planets.
one?
Yeah, it's a roller coaster one.
Yeah.
You see Battle of the Planets, which
I
was
remember
called
that one.
G-Force in Japan. It's an anime, an early like 70s
Oh
anime.
yes, I remember
Yeah, I
that.
remember that one. Yeah.
And it had little inserts made for American TV, and so they included a little droid that looked like R2 because it was a reaction to Star Wars. And I loved that as a kid because one of the characters in it his name was Marc. So obviously I thought, well, this guy's he's seriously cool because his name's Marc. They had another one in there named Steve. He was a real pleb.
Massive cock.
That part wasn't true. Yeah, he was a massive cock.
That's what I meant. Tiny wee wee, massive cock.
That show also a turd.
Yeah, a crowning turd in the water.
Some
pipe.
things just do not last.
No.
You can't look
It's like games. When I think of games that I played when I was young on my Atari 400 or my Commodore 64 or the Acorn Electron, in my head, they're like real life.
Yeah.
But when you look at them, it's like, no, that isn't what I played.
The thing I've heard the way I've heard it explained is there's like a crop of old games from sort of classic era getting rebooted and remade and remastered. The good ones play like you remember them rather than how they actually were.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you can tell when one is a kind of shameless knockoff cash-in because it's just bloody awful, and it plays, and it was bloody awful then. We were playing. Some of the people at work brought in some old consoles, and we played GoldenEye, and it's hard to go back. It's really hard because
I was trying to play that on the PS3 or PS4 recently. I got a remastered version.
Oh, I like that one. It's all right. It's that one at least has had the controls tightened up.
I remember
Perfect
Dark. That was an amazingly good groundbreaking game.
That's a groundbreaker, and also that's a great example of the remake that they did for Xbox Live Arcade, played like you remembered it, rather than how it actually was. Because if you went back and played it now, you'd be like, "Oh, blimey, these controls are really clunky. I can't really move very well." But in the Xbox Live version, it played like you remember. It
right. So better analog controls, digital controls.
Exactly. They'd kind of tightened those things up a bit, and it just made it a better experience overall. The graphics were still pretty. You could cut your eyes on them if you went too close to the screen. But yeah, some of that stuff can be quite nice though when they do it right. Doesn't really matter if it's Uncanny Valley, as long as it's decent. If it's stylish enough, I'll give most things a free pass.
No, exactly.
Yeah, guys, we're gonna have to do. We got to do a Star Wars style pickup.
Oh man,
if you're up for it, just 5 minutes.
Yep.
Let's just wrap up the After Dark because we've had a question coming from Connor.
All right.
Okay.
And then what I'll do is, if we wrap up the After Dark side, we'll address his question
and just splice it in.
And I'll splice it in. But I won't do it with any panache or finesse. I'll just do it really clumsily.
All right.
So thanks for listening to the After Dark side this week.
Please leave it in as no email from Connor this week. We have an email from Connor.
Yeah, that's what I can do. We're retcon it. This is going to be the Talk Star Wars special edition. Right. Thanks for listening to this rambling shambles of a podcast. We'll see you guys next week.
Hang on, were we recording then? Fuck.